नमस्ते, मैं आशुतोष। लाइब्रेरी क्लासिफिकेशन के डीडीसी सेगमेंट में आज 4 पुस्तकों को डेवी डेसिमल क्लासिफिकेशन स्कीम के द्वारा क्लासिफाई करना सीखेंगे। यहाँ पे डीडीसी का एक सेट प्रदर्शित है, जिसमें फर्स्ट वॉल्यूम मैनुअल टैबलेट्स, सेकंड वॉल्यूम शेड्यूल है जो 00 से लेके 599 तक के क्लास को कवर करता है। थर्ड वॉल्यूम भी शेड्यूल है जो 600 से लेके 999 तक के क्लास को कवर करता है। और फोर्थ वॉल्यूम रिलेटिव इंडेक्स है। टाइटल नंबर 1, वुमेन इन साइंस। सेकेंड टाइटल इज Euclidean geometry of line. Third is diagram of fluid mechanics. Fourth is prehistoric algebra. Now come to the first title, Women in Science. In this title there is a two concept, women and science. यदि हम किसी पुस्तक के विषय को जानना चाहें तो we will ask who will read this book. Then we get the answer. The particular streams, particular disciplines peoples will read this book. So here in this case, who will read this women in science? The science people will read this women in science. It means the subject of this book is the science. So we will classify this subject under the science. The main class of this book is science. So in the DDC, we will move the first volume. First volume, that is a table and manual. The second volume is a schedule that covered the 00 to 0000 to 599. So we move to the second volume, right? That under the second volume there is a summary, the first summary. Under the first summary we will find the science is under the 500. Then we move to the second summary. Second summary, the 500 is the science. So we are supposed to note down this science, that is the 500. And under the 500 we go to the schedule. Under the schedule we find that schedule and 500. Under the 500 there is a natural science or science, right? So under the 500 under the 500 the dot 8 is group of people. So here any type of group of people can be added with under this number, right? So we are supposed to note down the dot 8, that is a group of people. Group of people dot 8. Under the dot 8 there is a note that we are supposed to note down at the base number under the 508 number following 08 in the notation 081 089. तो 081 से 089 के बीच में हम अपनी डिजायर्ड कॉन्सेप्ट या आइडियाज को आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे, दैट इज वुमेन, दैट इज वुमेन. तो इट विल टेकन फ्रॉम table 1, it will be taken from table 1. So we will move to the table 1. So under the table, move to the table 1. Table 1, under the table 1 the summary, this is the 08. 08 is the group of people. Under the 08, under the 08, under the summary, 08 summary, we can see that 082 the women, and 081 is the people by gender or sex, and young people, people in a specific stage and adulthood, relatives, people by miscellaneous social attributes, people with a disability, illness, gifted people, means like a blind people or anything, occupation and a religious group, ethnic and national group can be added from this numbers from here. So now we move to the 8-1. We are instructed to go from 081 to 089. So 081, 081 and 082, that is a woman. Right? Now we get that our number, that is 082. So this is the 082. Under the instruction, the 08 will be followed. So here we cross the 08, and now we get the 2, and in such way that 500 is the science, and 8 and 2, right? The final class number will be 50082. That will be the answer. And next title is Euclidean Geometry of Line. Under this title, if you analyze, so we find the geometry. Geometry belongs to the mathematics. So the geometry is there, line is there, geometry is there, and in the geometry, Euclidean geometry is there. Right? That is under the mathematics. Now we come to the main class of this book is the mathematics. So we move to the mathematics. Mathematics, we know that the mathematics will come under the 500. So under the science, so first summary, from summary is the science, and the second summary. Under the second summary, we will find the mathematics 510, and under the third summary, under the 510, under the third summary, under the 510, under the 510, that we find the 512 is the algebra. Correct? So we can note down the mathematics, that is the 510, and geometry, that is the 51. Sorry, this is algebra or geometry. This is the 516. Okay, right. This is the 516, and then Euclidean geometry. Now we move to the 516. Under the 516, 5 mathematics, this is the 516 geometry. So under the geometry, the summary is there. So 2 is the Euclidean geometry, right? So the 2 is the Euclidean geometry. We noted down the 2 is 2, and under the 2 we move to the under 2 Euclidean geometry. So geometry, Euclidean geometry. Now we move to the Euclidean geometry, and under the Euclidean geometry, see, Euclidean geometry means the geometry that we that study the various type of shapes. General aspect of Euclidean geometry. So here the general aspect of Euclidean geometry: solid geometry, trigonometry, plane geometry. This, but here we are supposed to cover that line. So under the general aspect of Euclidean geometry, here under this we move to the whether we find the line geometry or not. So here the 516.2, 516.21. So now we move to the 516.12, 516.12 to 516.12. Here the 516.12 to the line geometry. This is a 183. This is the line geometry, right? So we are supposed to note down. So first general aspect of the line geometry, the 516.21, 516.21. Then under the 21 there is a rule. Under the 21 there is a rule. General aspect of geometry. Add to the base number 516.21 the number following 516.1 and in 516.1 to 516.18. So we find the 516.183. So we will note down the 516.183, or in this number the 516.1 will be followed. So this will be cross, that we rest is 83. The final number will be 516 dot, this 2 is the common 1 2 1 and this 83. The final number is 516.218 space 3. This is the answer. Now move to the next title. This is diagram of fluid mechanics. Right, fluid mechanics. There is two concept under this: fluid mechanics and diagram. So it may be difficult for someone that in which subject who will read this book. You will not get the answer because we are not. You may not aware with this fluid mechanics. So it is better you are supposed to go the index, and under the index you search the fluid mechanics. Then you find the number, and if you find the number, then you come to the main class. But here I know that this come under the physics, right? So physics will come under the main under the 500. So again the second summary, under the 530 is the physics, under the 500 530 is the physics, and under the 530 under the 530 under the 530 5253 under the 530 there is a fluid mechanics. This is the fluid mechanics 532. So we are supposed to note down physics 530 and fluid mechanics 532. And fluid mechanics of diagram. So diagram, just we move to the 530, we go to the schedule, under the schedule 530 fluid mechanics. So here we find the fluid mechanics, dynamics, statistics, flow, types of flow, flow properties, waves, and vortex motion. Like, but diagram is not given, but we should know that the diagram will come under the table. So in the table, in standard subdivision, there is a 9th subdivision under the standard subdivision, and the second subdivision, that is a 02, that is a miscellany. Under the miscellany, the diagram or illustrations are listed there. So move to the first table 1. Table 1. Under the table 2, this is the miscellany. So under the miscellany, see the illustration and models and miniatures. Illustration, models and miniatures. Miniatures means that representation of the huge shapes in a small, right? किसी चीज को, किसी बड़े चीज को आप छोटे में जब व्यक्त करते हैं, छोटे सिंबल्स द्वारा व्यक्त करते हैं, तो दैट इज नोन एज ए मिनिएचर, miniature, right? So the illustration is there, so we move to the 0 to 2. So 0 to 2, so here is the 0 to 2 illustration, models and miniatures. 0 to 2, under the 0 to 2 pictures and related illustration, and under the 0 to 2 3, that is the diagram, so we get the number. And again we move to the 0 to 2, here the under the standard subdivision is there, the rule is there from, because every standard subdivision has only one 0, but here the before the standard subdivision 0 1, there is one more 0. So this rule means it shows the that before adding the standard subdivision you are supposed to add one more 0. So rule for a standard subdivision, this is the rule. Then our number is diagram, our number is 0 2 2 3, and finally number will be the 5 3 2 and 1 0 from here, 1 0, and the standard subdivision number, that is that you can write here the T1, table 1, right? So 0 to 3, the final number will be 5 3 2 0 0 2 2 3, that will be the answer. And the next title is prehistoric algebra. So it is a very easy, that algebra belong to the mathematics. Who will read this book? There's mathematician and algebra people, they will read this book. Mathematics people will read algebra, right? So algebra and prehistoric. Okay, then main class is the main class. You come main class the science. 500, under 500 find the mathematics, under the mathematics you will find the algebra. So you can mention in the mathematics 510, and under the 510, so again we move to the second summary, 510, 500, 5 on mathematics, and under the mathematics move to the third summary, that is 5 science, and 510 is the mathematics, 512 is algebra, right? Note down the 523 algebra. Now the prehistoric, the period will be taken from the standard subdivision. Under the 09 subdivision of the table 1, and that is a history, geographic treatment and biography. So history means that period, history always shows that period. So under the we move to the 09. Okay, so first of all we are supposed to go here under the 512. What is there any rule for adding standard subdivision? So we move to the 512. So 512. So 512 is there. This rule for standard subdivision is given there. Here again 1 0 will be added. So the rule is for SS here. Okay. So prehistoric period. Now I move to the table 1. So table 1 के 9 में जाएंगे. So I move to the 9. So here the historical periods is there from, okay, so we move to the historical period. Yes, to 4000 BC, glacier comprehensive work on prehistoric period, means the prehistoric period will be classed under the 09012, right? So we are supposed to mention here prehistoric, and this is the 09012. Okay, now finally class number, we can prepare the class number. So 512, 10 from here, and 09012. That's clear. Okay, The class number, final class number is 512.009 space 012. That is the answer.